The Canucks' next moves have been revealed as Patrik Allvin shares his master plan for superstar Elias Pettersson this summer, as well as addressing the future of Rick Tocchet as the offseason quickly approaches. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any and all Canucks updates as we head into what should be a very busy offseason. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is Pettersson Plans revealed. So yesterday, Patrik Allvin had a very busy media day addressing a lot of things, and one of the things he addressed was Elias Pettersson. And so preparation has been a catchword since Allvin and Jim Rutherford took over a little more than 3 years ago. It became a hot button topic this season when Elias Pettersson, who told reporters after last year's playoffs he had tendonitis in his knee, reported to camp in Penticton and said he had to train around the problem during the offseason. The Canucks were unhappy with Pettersson's conditioning, and the $92.8 million player struggled through most of the season before leaving the lineup on March 22nd. He has 15 goals and 45 points in 64 games in the first season of an 8-year contract that is by far the largest in franchise history. And furthermore as well, the headline of this season unfortunately became his off-ice conflict with JT Miller, who is no longer with the team, as we all know, with the situation seemingly become a matter of trading one or the other. With Pettersson being the player the Canucks held on to from that feud, there is a sense of expectation on his shoulder from the organization that he works with them to better himself, to hopefully return to form come next season. Now, obviously, with these players in the offseason, the team can't dictate where they do their training or how they do their training. It's just a matter of making sure that they're ready to go once training camp starts in Penticton or wherever else they want to have it in BC. So, with that, Pettersson does have a busy offseason ahead, but he doesn't have the JT Miller stuff looming around his shoulder. And as far as the summer plans, Patrik Allvin did touch on that as well, saying that's something we're obviously going to talk about here when the season is over and have a plan for it. We have the right resources here to help him. Listen, he has the ability to dictate the future, and I'm sure he wants to come back to his normal form and wants to continue to grow and get better. So we have absolutely the commitment and resources here to help him do that. And I don't doubt this 100 at all. I think the player personnel group we have, as much as they've talked about how potentially the relationship with Pettersson in the scenes is a little bit fractured, but at the end of the day, Pettersson, we know that he likes to be a quote-unquote lone wolf. Has that worked out for him all the time? Not necessarily, but in his best seasons, it seems like that is the case. And obviously, he is a good team player and just loves being embraced by this team, and this team definitely rallies around him when they need to. And that's going to be a big thing heading into next year, is that he won't have the JT Miller stuff looming over him. The knee tendonitis not still nagging at him, because that is a tough injury to shake. Anybody who's had it or any form of tendonitis knows that it is a very hard injury to shake, and it lingers for quite a long time. Now, I know professional athletes, we like to think they're superhuman. They can heal like crazy. But we saw with Thatcher Demko how even with the injury that he had, where it wasn't even an ACL or anything like that, but it was a rare injury that we hadn't really seen before. And look how much that hindered not only his performance and missing games, but seeing how that he had to navigate that. It was a very tough touch and go situation for him and the Vancouver Canucks. So not saying that was entirely the case with Elias Pettersson here. Obviously, he still played a lot of games, but he was banged up a lot this season as well. So shutting him down for the next three games of the season, even though he might be ready to go, that's the smarter decision here, where you can have him just get an early start to his rehab, kind of take the first little bit of the summer off, kind of relax, and then start to get back into form where he can come into this season not having the hangover of the last year's playoffs hanging over his head. He won't have JT Miller up his ass all the time like a burr, and he won't have a lot of the noise that the Canucks had this season, because we had a lot of noise coming into this season because of how we overachieved last year. With how we underachieved this year, there's not as much pressure. We can kind of relax a bit. Pettersson can get back to playing the way that he plays and that he was playing before last season. Quinn Hughes can get back to recuperating and things like that. Brock Boeser, he's probably not staying here, so he's going to be moving on, so we're going to have to find a replacement for that. Pius Suter, work on re-signing him. So there's a lot of things here for Vancouver where if we can get all these key pieces back without Brock Boeser, unfortunately, that's a reality that I've learned to come to terms with, as much as I don't want to accept that fact. But losing a guy like him, but bringing in a replacement is going to be big, and making sure that the core members of this team can stay fortified and make sure that we can go on a run like we saw now. Almost, it'll be 2 seasons ago by the time next season starts, to hopefully wipe this season out of our memory and just move on and try and get back to the way that we should be playing under Rick Tocchet, with Quinn Hughes, with Elias Pettersson, with Thatcher Demko, and all the superstars that we have, worrying at just getting at full health. Dakota Joshua as well, the health has been a concern. Nils Höglander, he was back, but he was banged up a little bit this year. Obviously Quinn Hughes. So many injuries and so many things at play here. But as far as Elias Pettersson goes, I feel really confident that he's going to come into next season a lot more fresh, not having the noise and the mental aspect of it and the social media part of it. There's going to be a lot of things here where he can kind of clear his head. He's going to have a lot of time to recover, not only physically, but also mentally, and just ready to get back to being the old Petey that we've seen him play at 2 seasons ago and as well as last season. So what do you guys think about Patrik Allvin's plans for Elias Pettersson this offseason? Do you think we're going to see a lot different Petey coming in next season, or do you think we're going to get more of the same inconsistency and not a lot of production like we saw this season? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. I feel like I know what the response is going to be, but it still will be interesting to read through what you guys have to say. But that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which is Tocchet talk. So the other thing that Patrik Allvin talked about yesterday was Rick Tocchet talking about his extension, saying, I've said several times, my hope is to have Rick Tocchet here as the coach next year and beyond that. That's something we will continue to talk about. That's my hope. I have a great working relationship with Rick, and he's well respected. He's a really good coach, and I do think that he has the ability to continue to build what he has implemented here with the system and structure that he put together. It works even with the depleted lineup the Canucks have been icing. I think a lot of players that have come in here have career years, and they can only get better working with Tocchet and his staff. And I love what Allvin said there at the end. Career years. You look at what Jake DeBrusk did this year coming over from Boston, where he was definitely where he proved in Vancouver. He's a top 6 guy, but he was on a bottom 6 position in Boston because it was so front loaded. We bring him over to here, has a career year. Connor Garland, take him over from Phoenix where he was with Rick Tocchet, back-to-back career years. Pius Suter, career year. Brock Boeser last year, career year. Quinn Hughes, career year. It's just nonstop career years. And Elias Pettersson, yeah, that was the one regression, which we're going to try and forgive after next season, hopefully. But with Rick Tocchet, with the personnel that he's built here, with Adam Foote, with the Sedins, with Igor, with all these guys and Yogi and everyone in this building, he has so many good pieces around him. And then you have the players that are just playing their ass off for him, because with a coach personnel made up of former players are going to respect that already. You have so much going for you in the locker room and morale. And you see how Quinn Hughes speaks so highly of Rick Tocchet, how much he's helped him grow as a player and as a leader on and off the ice. So yes, this is exactly why the Canucks need to sign Rick Tocchet to an extension, as much as you guys have been divided in the comments about it this season, and with all the things going on with the Philly stuff and John Tortorella and everything in between, Bruce Boudreau saying what he said about the Canucks might pressure him into signing a deal, everything in between. At the end of the day, Rick Tocchet is the coach that is a good fit for Vancouver. Unless it's Manny Malhotra after a few more seasons in Abbotsford, I don't see another coach being a better fit for this Vancouver team. Yes, the dump and chase style of play gets a little bit boring and a little bit stale. However, we were doing that style without a full lineup most of the time. Like Mark said in our last video, we didn't have many guys play over 70 games this season. We had a lot of injuries, and they started to pile up, and they started hurting us big time. So if we can come into next season with a full roster, healthy, stay healthy, not have to worry about depletion, and not have to worry about calling up AHL guys every single game, which yes, a lot of those guys did perform, and they've earned themselves permanent roster spots. Atu Ratu, Junior Pettersson, all those guys, fantastic. So yes, we're going to see some guys get promotions next year, but we're still going to see some shakeup. However, with this, I still think Rick Tocchet is the right coach for it. And as far as the option was concerned, Allvin was asked about the option on Tocchet, saying, I've got a lot of respect for Rick Tocchet, so we'll cross that path when we get to that point. But my intention is to negotiate term with him and have a coach here that wants to be here. We'll continue to talk about that. And that has been the major topic of discussion around Rick Tocchet, is the option. How with coaches, they almost feel pressure into a forced marriage for that final season of their deal until they can finally move on, and they just don't want to be there. Bruce Boudreau, obviously, like I just said, he talked about it recently, saying how he had no better deals on the table, so he just signed it just because he had the chance. He just had no other options, but he also felt pressured to sign it because of how the Canucks were playing it up in the media. So with this, it is a lot of drama. It is a lot of speculation with this. However, showing Patrik Allvin saying they don't want to use the option does go to show a lot of things. Now, a lot of teams would probably say this just to try and save face and then go end up using it. However, with Allvin saying this, it goes to show that, hey, all season he's talked about this. It's not like he's just recently changing his tune about things and just now he's championing Rick Tocchet. All season, Allvin has been saying that he wants Rick Tocchet here. Even last season, he said he wants Rick Tocchet here for a long time. So obviously he's trying to get a deal done. It's just a matter of finding that magic number, whether it's dollar amount, whether it's term. It's going to be a matter of some sort of number, and hopefully the Canucks can come to that agreement so that Rick Tocchet can not only stay as our coach next season, but for more years to come, so that we can also keep Quinn Hughes in the building with a coach that he loves and respects. But what do you guys think about the Rick Tocchet stuff? Do you think that they're going to reach a deal, or do you think that he's going to be, or that Allvin is going to be forced to have to use the option to keep Rick Tocchet in Vancouver for one more year just before he gets shipped out and we bring in a new coach? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Stay tuned for more videos coming up as the regular season comes to a close and we get into the big offseason moves in free agency after the playoffs. Stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss it. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to help us get there, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you don't miss new episodes when they drop. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.